Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 78 of Acharya at 2025, a premium online webinar series organized by Department of MIT, AHS, in association with Indian Council of Radiological Technology. I, Sibin Koshi, will be your host for today. Thank you all for joining us. It's a great honor to introduce our speaker for today's section, someone who bringing both passion and expertise to the world of medical imaging. Please join me to welcome Mrs. Disha Pastor, a clinical specialist in medical imaging at Al Story Medical College, UAE. She currently works as a clinical application specialist for leading brands like Alfield Ultrasound and Bayer CT and MRI Complex Media. Ma'am has over 2 years of teaching experience both in India as well as abroad. Ma'am has been honored with numerous, including the first prize for research paper presentation at the National Conference organized by Nitya University, Bangalore, Karnataka. Additionally, a scientific paper has selected for presentation at prestigious European Congress of Radiology 2022 in Austria, an impressive achievement that has reflected her dedication to our field. We are fortunate to have ma'am with us today to share her expertise. Without further delay, let's welcome her. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. I hope you all are doing well. My name is Disha Faujdar, and I'm currently working as a clinical specialist in UAE. Firstly, I would like to sincerely thank Acharya Institute of Allied Health Sciences for organizing this insightful webinar series and for giving me the opportunity to be a part of it. I would also like to thank Mr. Swapnil. Today, I will be sharing insights from my experience as an application specialist, especially in the field of ultrasound, since I'm working in ultrasound. What we are discussing today goes beyond textbooks and academic learning. This is something that I have learned on hands-on, and this is what we do not see or read in any of the books that we generally refer to. So let us just go on and see and learn from the real world experiences. Since allied health sciences in India and allied health professionals in India are not permitted to perform ultrasound scans, many of you may not have the opportunity to see these technologies in action. However, we can always understand how these AI features transform the ultrasound scanning, and it can still be valuable in shaping your knowledge and career in medical imaging and hopefully in ultrasound if ever you're interested in. So with that in mind, let's get started. I will share my screen and then we'll just start. Let us start with my topic is the artificial intelligence which is used in ultrasound. So although we must have studied about artificial intelligence a lot nowadays, what we will be doing today is we'll just have a brief of what is the need of AI in ultrasound, and we'll just see what are the AI features that are available in various applications that we use in our day-to-day life. There might be some AI features which I might have missed, but I have tried to include almost all the common AI features which we are using in daily life. Starting with the introduction, so we'll just talk a little about what is AI in general, what is AI in healthcare, and how is it beneficial. So as we all know, AI is rapidly transforming the way we diagnose and treat the diseases, making all the process very fast, more accurate, and more efficient. Artificial intelligence generally uses the data and the algorithm and the machine learning to enhance the decision making. It is already helpful in drug discoveries and clinical decision making, and also to a very large extent in medical imaging as well. It improves the speed, the accuracy, and the efficiency. Talking about basics of ultrasound, ultrasound is a modality which is giving us real-time imaging, and it is being used since a very long time. It is safe because it is non-ionizing. That is why it is widely used. But the limitation of ultrasound is basically it depends on the operator's skills, and image quality can be sometimes limiting factor. What do I mean by operator skill? That means the person who is doing the scan, somehow it is depending on the person who's doing the scan, and there might be someone who's more experienced and gives a better images. There might be someone who is new and does not give that much better quality. So AI can help us in reducing this dependency on human skills and improve the image interpretation. We'll see how it does it. So first of all, how does AI work? It basically uses the deep learning, the machine learning, and the computer visions to enhance the diagnosis, automate some analysis, like automatically telling you about some problems or automatically giving you the measurements, and that in turn improves your workflow efficiency. We are not at all saying that AI is doing the scan for you. No, scanning is done by the human, the operator, but the machine is somehow helping the operator to give you a better image and a better analysis of the image. So AI helps doctors diagnose disease earlier and more accurately, assisting in predicting the patient outcome, and it gives personalized treatment plans. AI in various applications. So generally we use ultrasound for various body parts, and nowadays we have some or the other AI feature in all the applications. So AI is integrated into ultrasound imaging through various tools that enhance image quality, automate the analysis, and improve diagnostic accuracy. So these are some common AI tools that are used. First is AI-powered image enhancement. So this is a feature which is installed in the software, which it reduces the noise and artifacts to improve the image clarity. It also enhances the contrast and the resolution for better visualization of structures. Second is automatic lesion detection and classification. This is another AI tool which identifies the abnormal tissues, and it tells you that there is something not normal with this tissue, and so it helps you in classifying and detecting. Third is AI-assisted image segmentation. So it automatically outlines the organ. For example, you're scanning the liver, it will give you the outlines of the liver. So it gives us, it helps us in precise measurements, automated measurements, and quantification. So there are many parameters which earlier we used to go and do one by one manually. Those features are now all automated. So it calculates parameters like heart function or fetal growth, which we'll see in the following slides. So automatically measuring and telling you the quantity of, for example, heart function, how much heart is ejecting, and what is the strain that the heart wall muscles are having. So it is giving us exact quantity and exact measurements. Also, the last one is AI-based report generation. So it is using some AI tools like NLP, which is natural language processing, to generate the automatic diagnostic summaries. So we are just taking the measurements, and the report is automatically generated by the system given to you. So these all tools are very, very helpful for all the operators, be it doctor, be it sonographers, or anyone scanning. And now what we'll do is we'll go and see the tools in particular applications, and we'll be discussing most of them, but briefly. We are not going to go deep into how thing is done, because that is another very, very big topic. I'll just try to show you what all important AI features are there which are used in various applications. Also, I might have named some of them as something, and the names can be different with different brands. For example, a Philips machine can have a different name for it, a Samsung machine can have some other name for it, but they all are the same. So, okay, let's start with OB-GYN. So we know that ultrasound is very important in one application, which is OB-GYN. Why? Because it is safer, because there is no radiation. So AI tools in OB-GYN are very useful for automatic measurements, detecting the abnormality early, enhancing the image quality, and improving diagnostic accuracies in various areas of pregnancy monitoring or fertility monitoring, organ assessment. So let's start with it. The first one is auto biometry. Now, what is biometry? Biometry is basically in ultrasound, it refers to the measurement of anatomical structure. So any anatomical structure which is present, the measurement of it will be called as biometry. Now, auto biometry is automatic. It is used basically to assess the fetal growth, estimates the gestational age, and growth abnormalities in a fetus. So generally, this is used in early pregnancy scans or even late pregnancy scans. What it does is it automatically measures the organs of the fetus, and it tells us about the age of the fetus according to the measurement, and it tells us about the measurement, like how much is it measuring, does it come in the normal range or does it not come in the normal range. So automatically it's giving you those values. How is it beneficial? It reduces the measurement variability. For example, I am doing a scan and I start the measurement at one point, but the actual measurement was some other point. Or maybe some other operator does it in another way, and we'll get the difference in the age of the fetus. So that is reduced because of auto feature. It helps in tracking fetal growth and detecting abnormalities early. It saves time and enhances workflow efficiency. So here we have some images. I'll just try to show you what it does. So this first image, as you can see, this is the head of the fetus. As soon as you scan this, the system will automatically give you the measurement of the head circumference. You can see here, it's written HC, which is head circumference. This is the measurement of the head circumference. And according to this measurement, this much is the gestational age of the fetus. In the head, again, we generally take 4 types of measurements for autobiometry, which is head circumference, abdominal circumference, your femur length, and your biparietal diameter, which is BPD. So this is your biparietal diameter. So as soon as you got the scan, you can get the values. The system has measured it for you and given you the values. Similarly, this is an image for the abdominal circumference, which the system has taken. Here, this is the length of the longest bone, which is femur. And once you get these 4 parameters, which is BPD, head circumference, abdominal circumference, and femur length, you get the effective estimated fetal weight. As you can see, this is the weight of the baby, of the fetus at this point. And this is the gestational age. So this is how this automatic biometry feature helps us in telling us about the gestational age and in monitoring the growth of the fetus. Also, in the early scans, we generally see the heart rate of the baby, of the fetus, I'm sorry. So at this point, this is also something which is automated. We all have studied about Dopplers. So when we use pulse wave Doppler on the heart of the baby, of the fetus, we get the heart rate automatically measured by the system. So we do not have to go and select the waves. It automatically tells you what is the heart rate of the baby. It takes into consideration 2 cycles, and This is how you get it. Okay, moving on to the other feature, auto-biometry is done. This is one of the most important AI feature, which is very important and commonly used in OB/GYN. Second is auto-NT. Now, NT is nuchal translucency thickness. This is a measurement which is very important for ultrasound screening done in the first trimester, generally 11 to 14 weeks, to assess the risk of chromosomal abnormality. So, any genetic condition in the fetus or any chromosomal abnormality can be known by measuring the nuchal translucency. You can see on the image we have the two calipers here. This is the thickness that is measured, and it tells us about the risk of conditions like Down syndrome or Edwards syndrome. So we can assess this thickness earlier, and we can get to know whether the fetus is developing any of these chromosomal abnormalities or not. So what it does is, as soon as you scan the fetus, it will, and you touch on the button for auto-NT, and you'll get the thickness. So that is how easy AI has made things for us. It improves accuracy definitely, and it speeds up the NT screening process. Also, it's giving us more standardized and reliable results, definitely. So after auto-NT, we'll move on to auto-follicle. Now, this is a feature which is mostly used in gynae. This is generally used to detect the follicles that are present in ovary. So it automatically detects the follicles and analyzes their number and size. This particular feature is very useful for the fertility assessments or IVF treatments, where it is very important to monitor the ovulation. So auto follicle, again, follicle is the measurement, and auto means the system does it for you. It reduces, again, the human error and speeds up the fertility evaluation. What it does is, you take the scan of your ovary, and this is, for example, the scan of your ovary. And as soon as you click on the auto follicle, it automatically highlights the number of follicles which are present and gives them a different color, for example. And it gives you the size of each follicle as well. So this is also, again, a very time-saving feature, because otherwise the doctors have to go and select and then measure each one by one. And which auto follicle simplifies this process, gives you all the measurement at one point, and thus saves time. Again, the next one is auto uterus. This is again used for gynecology processes. It uses the AI to automatically detect segments and measure the uterus. So it will tell you, okay, this is the area of your uterus. If there is any difference in echogenicity, it will tell you that, okay, there is some echogenicity difference. It might be something. So it will just highlight it and tells you. It helps in identifying the fibroids, any polyp which are present in the uterine lining. Also measures the endometrial thickness automatically for gynecological and fertility assessment. Again, supports early detection of uterine pathology, sometimes things which can be missed by human eye. AI is helping in doing this for you. Next is very common, 3D, 4D. We all know this is, again, a very important AI advancement that has happened in ultrasound. It enhances, we are able to see the real-time 3D and 4D images for the fetal and gynecological assessment. So how is it helpful? It helps us in detecting any congenital anomalies which are present. So sometimes on a 2D gray image, we are not able to see everything, but on a 3D or a 4D, when it gives you a structural image, you're able to see skeletal abnormalities or cleft lip, which is very common, neural tube defects. So this all we can easily see on the 3D or 4D. 4D, mostly in 3D. 4D is just how do we say? It's a more of an aesthetic feature. It improves bonding experience for parents. It makes them feel good that they are able to see their baby moving. So AI optimizes the image rendering and processing speed. The image is rendered in a way and speed is processed, and you get the 3D or 4D image from the 2D. It is used for fetal facial imaging, organ development, and maternal fetal bonding. So this is some of the images. Here you can see the fetus in multiplane MPR, which is multiplanar reconstruction. You can see all three planes: axial, sagittal, coronal, and your 3D. And this is again your 3D with with AI features like clear face, or clear face is something which removes the other bony structures from the surrounding and will give you just the face of the fetus. There are others like Live HQ, which gives a more realistic 3D. Like you will feel like it's actual photo. It will not feel like an ultrasound. And there is Silhouette View, which is something new. Now, Silhouette View, what it does, it helps you in seeing the internal structures. So it gives a more information on the soft tissues of the baby or any fluid-filled structures and the bones. So there are many AI features in 3D and 4D, which are just done to enhance the image, make it more realistic, and a better experience for the patient. Now, next is Vocal. This is also one of the AI feature from 3D and 4D. So this is actually virtual organ computer aided analysis. What it does, it allows you to measure the volume of tissue in 3D, 4D model. So as you can see in the image, suppose this is any organ and you want to know what is the volume of this organ. So in this 3D, in this 2D, you might not get the exact size of it or the exact shape of it, an exact volume of it. What Vocal will do is it will highlight it and it will give you a 3D or 4D of 3D and 4D of that organ. So now you can see this particular thing in a 3D and 4D. Now you're able to see the exact shape of it, exact volume of it. And what is the clinical benefit? It will help you understand the lesion shape on a 3D mode. It helps you in acquiring volume measurements data. So I think we have covered most of the OB/GYN features till now. There might be some more in some brand, or might be some less in some brand, but these are the basic ones which are generally there in all of them. Coming to general imaging. So general imaging means scanning your breast, your thyroid, liver, and improving the accuracy and speed. So now we'll see the AI features which are used for general imaging and helps us in assisting the early detection, reducing the human error. First is auto lesion detection. So AI automatically identifies the cyst, if it is present, or tumor, and any nodule which is present. These are the images of the breast. As you can see, if the system is identifying it, there is an arrow which shows that something is not right at this place. Also, we have features for differentiating between the benign and the malignant lesions using advanced algorithms like BIRADS, TIRADS. I'll show you those. It also reduces dependency on operator expertise and speeds up your diagnosis. Second is auto Doppler analysis. So this is also a feature I think most of the doctors or most of the operators use in every day. So now this is what any Doppler analysis, we can say. when we use the pulse wave Doppler, we get the waveform. And to get any measurement from the waveform, generally what we have to do is we have to click on the waveform at particular point, okay, from this point to this point, and then you have to measure each measurement, like your end diastolic volume, your Tmax, your pulsatility index, your resistivity index, your heart rate. What auto Doppler analysis is doing, you just have to click on auto and it automatically gives you all these values. You don't have to go and click anywhere. So it provides automated waveform interpretation to assist in diagnostic circulate ratio. So this is a very, very unique and most of the times used AI feature, generally in everyday scans. Next is shear wave elastography. Again, this is one of the very important AI features. So it's generally done for breast tissues or can be done for liver tissues. So elastography is basically checking the elasticity or the stiffness of the tissue. Though we have two types of elastography. We have shear wave and we have point shear wave. So liver shear wave elastography, it is a state-of-art method for diagnosing the diffuse liver diseases. So it's one of the tools that non-invasively, it gives you a quantity on the measures of tissue stiffness. See, otherwise we have to do invasive procedures to find out about the stiffness. And this is a feature which is telling you everything non-invasively just by scanning. It tells you what is the actual measurement of the tissue stiffness. It gives you a value and provides excellent diagnostic performance in evaluating the different stages of fibrosis in liver disease. So it gives you a color map of the stiffness. So here is where you will get the map, and one color will depict a hard tissue and the other color will depict your soft tissue. So and also it gives you a measurement value of how much stiffness is present, and it can help in diagnose and analysis of the stiffness. So I'm not going to tell you in deep how to do it, because that is again a very big, that will require another very big seminar. But I'm just giving you a gist of it about what all features are there and how they are very helpful. So shear wave is basically giving you the stiffness value in, suppose, in this complete area. It tells you about the stiffness with the help of a color map. Second we have is a point shear wave. Now point shear wave is something which it gives you the tissue elasticity at a point in the liver. It is mainly used in liver. So point shear wave provides a numerical representation of tissue elasticity by tracing the tissue shear waves. So if we send shear waves here, and then we get the values, and we can take up to 10 samples from this box, and we can find out the elasticity at 10 various points. Here, a user can identify severe liver fibrosis non-invasively. Third one is ATI. Again, this can also be used in liver. This is very helpful in quantifying the fatty liver disease. So that is a very common diagnosis. Mostly for most of the patients, we get fatty liver. So this is a feature that can help us in getting the value of fat, like it quantifying the fatty liver disease. So how does it work is, the name is ATI, which is attenuation imaging. Okay. Attenuation, we all know what is attenuation. What we do here, what happens here is the ultrasound waves transmitted into the body, particularly in this area where the box is, and it gradually spreads and convert into heat, and it is absorbed by the tissue. So it either scatters or it is either attenuation. attenuation is done. Now, attenuation of ultrasound signals depends on the characteristic of the tissue. So the more fatty it is, the more attenuation will be there. So the fatty liver will represent increased attenuation, and we'll get the values. And if it differs from the normal values, we can say that, okay, this much fatty liver is there. Next is TIRADS, which is Thyroid Imaging Reporting and Data System. Here, what AI is doing is automatically detecting your thyroid nodules. It is measuring your thyroid nodules and classifying them. Using the TIRAD scoring, it gives a value for them according to the risk based on ultrasound features. Now, what features it looks at? It analyzes the shape, the echogenicity, the margins of the lesion, and calcification. And it puts your nodules into a category of 1 to 5, with 1 being no risk and 5 is high risk. So automatically the system is doing the analysis for you. It reduces the unnecessary biopsies and improves early thyroid cancer diagnosis. It helps in standardizing, reporting, and minimizes the inter-observer variability. Similarly, this is for thyroids. The next is for the breast tissues, breast lesion, and BIRADS. This is more common. We have studied this for mammography as well. So what AI is doing here is it's classifying these breast lesions using the BIRADS category. So it assesses the lesion. It sees lesion or mass. It sees the shape. It sees the density of it. It checks out the margins and calcification. And again, classifies them into BIRADS category, which is 0 to 6. Enhances the detection of suspicious masses, calcification, and architectural distortions. It provides automated risk management in order to support early breast cancer diagnosis. It improves screening accuracy and reduces false positive and negatives. So this is, here we are done with the general imaging. Moving on to our last segment, which is cardiac imaging. Now, AI is revolutionizing echocardiography by enhancing accuracy, reducing operator dependency, and automating complex cardiac assessment. So cardiac scanning itself is a very complex scanning. And what happens is it is definitely operator dependent. So you don't get the same results with every operator. And since it is that complex, these AI tools are there to help reducing the dependency on operator. You just take the normal scans, and every measurement and every analysis is done by the system for you. So mainly we'll talk about 3 of them. One of them is cardiac strain. One of them is cardiac strain. Cardiac strain refers to a measure of the deformation or the stretch of the heart muscle during cardiac cycle. Now, during a cardiac cycle, our heart systole and diastole happens, and it contracts and relaxes, right? So the muscles of the heart are contracting and relaxing, and this strain is basically done to see specifically how well the heart muscle contracts and relaxes during the cardiac cycle. So it is generally done during echocardiography, and it focuses on how much the heart wall will expand or contract. Why this is important? Because it helps in detecting the early signs of heart disease. Why? Because even if there is a slight change in the heart muscle function, it can lead to conditions like heart failure or myocardial infarction. So what what is a very important measurement here is the GLS, which is global longitudinal strain. This is an important measurement that is generally taken in strain to see the heart function. So this is how the image look like after strain analysis is done on the images. So when we do echocardiography, we generally take five. It is generally taking 5 views: long axis, short axis, 4-chamber, and apical view. So mostly for strain, we use these three views: the 4-chamber, long axis, and the apical. And how does it work? It measures the percentage of deformation of the left ventricle walls. So we see the left ventricle walls and how much it is deforming, how much it is relaxing or contracting during and when we take these three, the system automatically gives us this image, and which is showing us the global longitudinal strain measurement for early heart disease detection. It detects subtle myocardial dysfunction before any structural changes appear. So we can say that less negative or positive GLS value may suggest us some impaired heart function. So as we can see, this is a very complex process, and the system is making it so much easier for us, and it's just helping us in finding out whether it is normal or abnormal, and then easily the doctor can give the diagnosis. It's not since it is AI and not operator dependent, there is no chance of mistake that can be done by a human. Next one is auto EF. Now EF is ejection fraction. So ejection fraction is basically to see how much blood the left ventricle pumps out with each heartbeat. It is very important measurement. It is expressed as a percentage and represent the amount of blood which is pumped out of the ventricle compared to how much is in the ventricle before the heart contracts. So AI, what it does is it automatically, as you can see, it has put the boundaries in your left ventricle, and it will measure all these values for you automatically. You just have to take the desired view of the heart, and the system will do everything. So auto EF is a semi-automatic measurement tool, measures the left ventricle ejection fraction to assess the heart function. Again, this also reduces inter-observer variability and enhances the heart failure diagnosis. So we generally say that normal ejection fraction should be between 55 to 70%. If it is reduced, if we get the value of ejection fraction as less, see here is the ejection fraction value. It's 63. It comes in the normal range. If it is less, that means less than 40%, it might indicate heart failure or cardiomyopathy. Next is auto IMT. Now, IMT is intima media thickness, which is generally present in your carotid artery. So this measures the thickness of the inner 2 layers of the carotid artery. So this is your intima media. And when you scan the carotid artery and switch on the auto IMT, automatically it will segment your IMT and gives you the value. So why this is important? This is actually a key biomarker for atherosclerosis, any cardiovascular disease. So the thickness will indicate if any sclerosis is there. Early detection of it again helps in stroke and heart disease prevention. So auto IMT, again, the system it's an AI-driven tool which enhances the assessment, and it gives you a value. It helps you in early detection, gives you a thickness of carotid artery walls. So AI automatically detects and measure your carotid IMT with high precision, eliminates manual tracing, reduces operator variability, provides fast and reproducible results for cardiovascular risk. So with this, I have covered most of the AI features which are used in various applications. Now, AI in ultrasound is not only an application; it's in various parts, like even in software, even in tools to improve your workflow efficiency. So how it helps in other areas apart from diagnosis. It helps us in data organization and retrieval. There are AI tools which can organize and retrieve historical patient data, providing quick access to previous scans. So most of the machines also have a feature called as compare. So what you can do is, suppose there's a patient who comes today, and the same patient had come 2 months back and did the same scan. You can open this last scan and today's scan, and you can compare the images and see the progress. So it saves time spent on manual searches. Second is automated workflow management. So easily scheduling of scans, managing patient, uh, uh, improving basically the efficiency of the clinic or the department. And integrated reporting, I told you previously also that AI assist features are there which automatically generate the report of all the measurements that you have taken, all the clinical data that was there, and it helps in faster report creation and more accurate documentation. So with this, we come to the conclusion that yes, AI is not taking our places, but making our work very easier for us, specifically in terms of ultrasound, because, okay, not in India, but in other parts of the world, ultrasound scans are mostly done by sonographers. And sometimes a sonographer might not be knowing the exact diagnosis or might miss something which was very important. So AI is helping the sonographer or even the doctor to find out the exact diagnosis, to not miss something which is very important, and which improves the diagnosis in turn and helps in treatment planning and workflow efficiency. So yes, with this, I'm done with my presentation. I know you might be having some questions. You can ask your questions. But before that, I would like to ask you one question. So it's just a question for reflection, no need for answers. I just want you to, have a discussion about, after learning all these features, what are your thoughts on AI and in ultrasound specifically? And do you think it's very beneficial or not? So with this, I will stop sharing my screen. Yeah, thank you.
If anyone have any questions, please post it in the chat box. Ma'am can answer it for you. Ma'am, there's a question in the chat box.
Okay.
AI will solve operator
Dependent issues. Yes, definitely. That's what we have spoken in this presentation. It is solving all the operator dependent issues. It is helping us in automatically measuring or automatically segmenting various organs. So yes, it is solving the operator dependent issues, because either you do it or if I do it, we'll get the same measurements, we'll get the same values, and so we'll get the same diagnosis. Yes. How IoT can be IoT is, sorry, can you elaborate on this? Is AI helpful in CT and MRI? Yes, CT and MRI also have a lot of AI tools uh, for detecting cyst lesion. Maybe not exactly like this, because see, here also it's not giving you the diagnosis. It's just telling you this might be not normal or normal. It's just doing the complex things for you. It's not giving you the diagnosis even here. But yes, AI tools are there in CT and MRI as well, which are very helpful in detecting pathologies.
Any more questions?
Yes, Internet of Things, yes, it can improve, can enhance ultrasound technology and also improving it continuously by connectivity, data sharing, remote accessibility. We have portable ultrasounds now, we have automated workflow, data integration. So telemedicine, remote monitoring. So yes, it is already helping us, and IoT is already allowing us for the real-time ultrasound guidance in various places.
Any more questions?
Whether a single probe can be used to detect all pathologies, irrespective of the anatomical part. There are technologies. They are getting probes which are, they cover all range of frequencies, but it is not very helpful as of now. They are still making some probes which are like, for example, the frequency is 3 to 19. Now, frequency as low as 3 and as high as 19. So you can obviously scan your abdomen along with abdomen, as well as your superficial tissues with it. There definitely, but it's not like a single probe can do everything, because you need different probes for your cardiac scan, you need different probe for your endocavity, for your 3D, 4D, but it might come in the future. What are regulatory and ethical considerations surrounding AI in MRI? So I'm so sorry, I'm not covering MRI today. You might ask this question to somebody who tells you about AI and MRI. Any more questions?
If there is no question, we can wind up the section.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. I hope I was anyway valuable for you guys. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving such detailed presentation on how AI is transforming healthcare and predicting patient outcome and helping us out.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Before we conclude, let me brief about the participants about the next speaker for tomorrow. We shall have among us Mr. M. Devraj, RSO and Assistant Professor, AHS, Sri Ramakrishna Hospital, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, who will be talking about MRCP once again. Our sincere thanks to our distinguished speaker for sharing such valuable insights to us and to all the participants for having our presentation throughout the section. We trust that you find this section both informative and enriching. We look forward to have you join us again for another section soon. See you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Until then, take care and have a wonderful day.